Test 1, 2, 3.
Oh, you had yours mute.
Well, I had the microphone muted. Yeah, I didn't like it. Yesterday it kept flashing every time I talked, and I wasn't sure where it was heading.
Oh, I talked to 710.
Hold on.
Sergio should be giving us a little bigger heads up. So launching right now on my computer, so
Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Test out. 3, 4, 5.
yeah, yeah.
5,
It's great.
4, 3, 2, 1.
So what I'm going to do is
Let me try this. Hello? Test. Test.
Well, you're gonna hear you should hear it snap now. Yeah, now you're doing it.
Hello? Test.
So wait, keep on talking, Marv, because now I'm gonna switch it here. So I'm gonna go. Let's switch the intro screen,